how do you create a life that you love, a life that you don't need a break from, a life where every day is special and is in alignment with who you really are, a life filled with all of the things that you love, where you don't have to make any sacrifices, you get to have it all. Is it even possible? This is what I'm going to start unpacking today, guys, because I've had the last couple of days have been a real major realization for myself personally around all of this, and how actually, I'm incredibly grateful to have had the realization that my life is very close to getting to that point right now where it is a life that I absolutely love, and there is very little, we've still got a bit to work on. There's very little sacrifice going on, and I just want to share that with you. If you're new, guys, hi, welcome. So glad to have you here. If you're new and you're a self-development inner work junkie and you just love all things development and expansion, and you have a desire to start creating a life that you truly desire, a life that you want to live, then hit subscribe, because this is what we talk about on my channel. So let's dig into it. So I'm going to run through what's happened over the last couple of days to have this realization, and then we're going to talk a little bit about how you can start building this life that you truly desire, a life where, like I say, there isn't sacrifice, a life where every day is a good day, so to speak. So for me, it's been a really odd last few days, because here in the UK where I am, we have had, so on Sunday we had Mother's Day, and I'm a mum to two girls, so we were celebrating Mother's Day. And then the day, literally the next day afterwards, was my birthday. And it's never fallen like that before. My birthday sometimes falls on Easter. It's kind of around this time of year where, lots of different things can happen around my birthday. But I don't know if it's ever fallen right next to Mother's Day. And it's been a really odd few days, because we've the last couple of weeks, we've had a really busy, packed 2 weeks. I've had my husband away for nearly 2 weeks, so I've been solo parenting, and we haven't gone into survival mode. We are learning to elevate out of that, because it is very much a desire of mine that when he goes away, or when either of us go away and we're solo parenting, we are not in that survival mode. I want every day of my life to be thriving, not surviving. And so even when the situation is more difficult, it's not so easy, the setup isn't so easy, I still want to be in this energy of thriving. But it has been full on, okay? So it has been good, but it's been full on. And I kind of had this realization. So it was Mother's Day, and the girls came in, and they bought some little gifts for me and some things that they'd made at school, and they wanted to make me breakfast in bed, and it was all really lovely. But there was something about the energy of the day, and this kind of followed through into my birthday as well, that I didn't like. And I kind of felt a bit bad, because I was initially in a little bit of a mood with all of this. But what I was picking up on was this energy around the fact that, one, it was a day called Mother's Day, and that in years past, the energy I would show up to for this day in particular is that I'm not doing any cleaning today, I'm not doing any cooking, I'm having a lie-in in bed, everybody's gonna wait on me, it's my day kind of thing. It's my special day to be pampered as a mum. And this year, something felt really off about that whole idea. And the reason it felt really off was because I was I don't want one day out of the whole year, out of 365 days, to be the one day that I declare to myself that I am worthy of having help and support, that I am worthy of having a lie-in, that it's the only day that my family can decide to, you know, give me a gift or to bring me breakfast in bed. And, you know, and vice versa, like for Father's Day or for somebody else's birthday. It's like we treat these days. And so this kind of happened on my birthday the next day as well. And it was like I could feel the energy from my whole family, like getting into this place where they all felt like they kind of had to be on their best behavior because it was a special day. It was like, you can't fuck up today kind of thing. And that in itself felt off. And I didn't want to put that onto them. And it was just like such, like I've never felt this before, but and I think, well, maybe I have, but I haven't been able to like really internalize what this meant. But it just felt so off, all of it. And I get like this around like Valentine's Day as well. Like in the past, me and my husband, we don't do Valentine's Day. And initially I kind of thought that was, you know, maybe something that we needed to do, like that we were missing out. But the realization that I had was that when I got up in the morning on both these days that were supposed to be like my special days to like celebrate me and, you know, all of this kind of stuff, I realized I don't need these days because I have been on a journey to create a life that feels every day like what Mother's Day or your birthday has. Now, I don't get gifts every day, but I don't need to have gifts every day. And also as well, like with the whole gift giving thing, it was kind of this energy of obligation. Like, and I feel like this sometimes when it's people's birthdays, it's like that pressure of like, it's somebody's birthday, I need to buy them a gift. Like, it's kind of just this thing that we do. It's this done thing. And if you don't do it, then, you know, it's kind of frowned upon. But I said to my husband that, like, because he bought me a bunch of flowers and the flowers were lovely, but he buys me flowers all the time, like, you know, like, but randomly. And for me, that is so much more precious when he pops down to like, you know, the local co-op and, you know, to pick up some milk and he'll see some flowers and he'll think of me and be like, I'll get Joe some flowers. And it's like, you know, my sensitivity to energy is just increasing. It's just going up and up and up. And it's like I can't ignore, like I could feel the energy behind him giving me those flowers. I could feel it came from a place of obligation. And it's not because like he doesn't want to give me flowers, but it's like when he goes and he's out and he sees that or he thinks, oh, I really want to buy Joe some flowers. It's a completely different energy to when it's like, oh, it's her birthday or it's Mother's Day, I better get her like this. It's a completely different thing. And like, so on Mother's Day, on the Sunday, I purposely made myself do some cleaning in the house. Like I generally, like most days, will do like a little bit of, you know, cleaning and tidying up and all of that kind of stuff, like nearly every day. But I was like determined that on this day, I didn't want to step into this place of like, today I don't want to do this. Today I'm not, you know, I'm not doing all those things that I don't want to do. Because I was like, I don't want to live a life where I only get a handful of these days throughout the year where I get to kind of basically be the person that I want to be. And it's like Valentine's Day, for example. Like me and my husband have never really been into Valentine's Day. It's never really been a thing. And sometimes we do it and it ends up becoming more awkward than not because we're both a bit like, are we doing something? Are we getting each other something? And, you know, and then sometimes if we don't have that conversation, one of us will do it and then the other one feels bad. And I was like, I said to him, like at the end of my birthday yesterday, and I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I really feel like all of these days, like, one, they are just, like, who makes these days up? Like, and it's like there's a day for everything now. But it feels like we have to like have these days because these are the only times of the year where for most people they allow themselves to celebrate themselves, to enjoy themselves, to, you know, to step into that kind of place, to step into being maybe who they really want to be. And I was like, I don't want 5 days of the year where I get to do that. I want every day of the year where I get to do that. I want to receive gifts because people have, you know, my friends, my family, whoever have been out and they've seen something and they've thought of me, or I did something that they felt really appreciative for and they wanted to show their love and appreciation through a gift or something. I want to receive a gift because somebody felt called to, they were, you know, in alignment and they received that inspired action to go and buy that thing. And that's also how I want to give gifts. I don't want to give gifts because it's like it's a certain date of the year and I feel obliged to have to do it. And if I don't do it, this person's going to think, they don't, you know, they don't like me or they don't love me or whatever the case may be. And so, like, it was really like interesting as well on my birthday because my husband took the day off work. My girls had school in the morning because they kind of like sort of part-time flexi school in the school that they go to. So they were like in until 1 and he was like, you know, what do you want to do? And it was like this crazy realization that apart from the fact that I got to spend the morning with my husband, which was really good, I honestly would have been really happy doing our normal day to day, taking the girls into school, coming back here, filming a YouTube video, getting on creating some more things to do with my courses, all of that kind of stuff, picking my kids up, bringing them back, having the afternoon with them, doing a little bit of housework, doing a workout in the morning. Like, that to me is a good day, and that is my average life. And so this is what I want you to think about when it comes to, this is what it means to build a life that you truly love. I genuinely, like, it was a real revelation. And I said to my husband, I was like, from now on, I don't want to do birthdays anymore. Like, if you want to do that and if the kids want to do that, I'm happy to play along. Like, you know, that's personal choice. But for me, personally, I would just be happy to wake up in the morning. We could do like a tiny little gift, like nothing major, just a small little token of like, it's my birthday. However many years ago I was born, you know, I came into the world, great. You know, and that's it. And I would rather the day just continue on as normal because everybody brings this really false energy to it. Like, I could tell, like, there was moments when my husband was like losing it a little bit, and I could see he felt like really in conflict because it was like, I can't do this today, I can't like not be on form today. And it's like, I don't want somebody to be in that energetic space around me because it's my birthday kind of thing. And I get like that as well, like on my husband's birthday. If I'm having like a crap day, like, of course, yes, I will do what is in my power to get back into alignment. But I want to be doing that because I need to get back into alignment, not because it's someone's day and, you know, and there's a standard that we have to like adhere to, okay? And so when we talk about creating the life that you love, creating a life that is in alignment with you, think about, so you can use those days as an example. If you're somebody who currently like, darn it, I have an alarm, guys, that I have to set. I have to set these alarms. And I've said this in a previous video because I have not learned from this, that I have alarms that I have to set in the morning and in the afternoon to give my kids snacks. Because if they get hangry, it's a bad situation kind of thing. And the alarm just came on and stopped the recording. So now I'm going to have to edit these two pieces together. It's fine. It's good. It's all good. Okay, where were we? So if you're somebody who enjoys this, and I'm not saying like if you enjoy it, like, you know, this is your life, Whatever vibes with you, you do it, okay? This is just my experience of it. But if you are using those kinds of days, like Valentine's Day, like your birthday, like Mother's Day, even things like Christmas and stuff like that, all of these like very man-made dates that, yes, some of them are like based in religion, but some of them are just completely random made up dates. Like, if you are using those as your permission slip to step into who you want to be, to actually have a day that you really enjoy, then, you know, use that. There's information in that you can take from it. So this kind of comes back to like, what is your ideal day? And now people kind of go really extreme when they talk about this. Like, you know, they talk about, oh, well, I just get up and I wouldn't really do much. And I think that response happens because if you're living in a lot of contrast, if you're living out a life that you really don't enjoy, what tends to happen, and I've got a whole nother video where I talk about this, I call it like the pendulum swing, and I'll link it down in the description if you want to go and check that out. What happens is when you're in such a polar opposite place to where you actually want to be, there's this, I think it's almost like a natural human tendency to want to swing in the complete opposite direction, because it's like you're so done, you're so fed up with this place that you're in right now that you feel like you have to go completely the opposite. It's like you want to push it away, you want to repel it, and you want to go in its complete opposite direction, and you think that is where you're gonna be in this happy place, this is where you're going to be fulfilled and satisfied. Whereas more often than not, it's not really that you necessarily want the extreme opposite of what you're experiencing. More often than not, when I look back throughout my life, when I've made these tweaks, when I've made these decisions to change the way that I'm living my life, and I've, moved in a different direction, they have actually been really small tweaks that I've made. Most of the time, most people are actually not that far from where they want to be. But it's just when you're in this like mental state where all of your story is about, focusing on all the things that you dislike, it can feel like you're actually in a really bad off place. When if you get some kind of grounding back, when you sort of stabilize yourself and you start to see it from a broader perspective, like when you start, this is why I always recommend a gratitude practice. Like, it doesn't have to be anything complicated. Just at the start of the day and at the end of the day, just write down a couple of things that you are grateful for right now. Because in doing that, you start to realize, actually, it really isn't as bad as what I'm making this all out to be. And that's when you get into this space where you're like, no, it's not all crap. It's not all like, the complete opposite of the life I want to live. It's just that like this area here needs some fine tuning. I need to tweak some of the elements in this part of my life, and this part is going really well, but I want this part to merge better with this part. Like, you are creating like art with your life in how you do this. And this is a painting. Your life is like a painting that's always changing. Like, don't think that, okay, I've got this right now, I don't ever have to do that again. Like, you are constantly evolving and changing as an individual, and so will that your life needs to follow you and do that as well. And so I want you to start thinking about like, what is your ideal day? And think about this when you're not really pissed off with your current life. Because like I said, you're going to do this pendulum swinging thing where you're just going to swing yourself to the complete opposite end of the spectrum because you want to get so far away from this. Like, you got to get into this place, a more neutralized place, get into a little bit of gratitude, a little bit of appreciation, because raising your vibration to that level helps you see that more broader perspective. You start to see all of the elements rather than like when you're laser focused in on all the things that aren't working. Because when you're in that state, that is when you miss all of the things that are actually working. And what can happen when you do that really sharp pendulum swing, like, moving from one thing to another, it's almost like you decide to burn it all down. And I've done this a lot. Like, I really can like resonate with this, because I used to be very much like, this isn't working, burn it down, start again, move on to the next thing. But the problem that happens when you go that extreme is that, one, you're very focused on your external when you're doing that, and you have this belief that the external reality that you're living, you know, the life that you're living right now, the career, the partner, the home, all of those things, it's those things that are making you unhappy. I'm not saying it's never those things, but more often than not, change in here, change how you view things in here, and the focus that you place on the things in your life. And that is when like the external starts to reflect the internal, okay? Your life is always a constant mirror to what is going on in here. And this is why I've created a whole free guide for you guys around this. It's Uncovering Your Authentic Self. I will link that in the description as well. And it gets you starting to connect back in here. If you want to create a life that you love, that you truly desire, a life where you feel like you're in a position like I am, where I can say, I don't need birthdays, I don't need Mother's Day, I don't need Valentine's Day, because I celebrate like they are those days most days of the week of my life. Like, it's not always extravagant and really flamboyant, but it doesn't have to be. It's, I show up energetically and mentally like those days are happening all throughout my week. I don't need those days. I don't need Valentine's Day for me and my husband to have a date. We have date nights every single night of the week. Our like average Tuesday night is probably more spicier and more, you know, deeply connected and intimate than most people's Valentine's Day is, because we have decided that our marriage and our relationship is of incredible importance to us. Like, we want a marriage that is rooted in longevity, but we also don't want it to be boring. You know, we want an exciting, you know, fulfilled marriage. And we know that we have to, I don't like to use the word work because it kind of brings the wrong kind of energy, but we have to nourish that. We have to keep, it's like a garden, we have to keep tending to that. And so when Valentine's Day comes along, it's just like, you know, it's just inflated prices of like roses. It's all bog standard as well. Like, it's not about getting something that your partner truly wants. It's kind of just feeding into this like idea. And there's nothing wrong with having this as a starting point. I'm not saying there's anything wrong in celebrating these days, but like I say, if you're just using those days as your excuse to only like live this out in your life for like a handful of days a year, and you don't want to be doing that, you want to be living out the whole life like that, it's about deciding. Like, I always talk about this, that the first step to doing anything, to changing any of this, is making that energetic decision. It's like, that is the most powerful thing. Forget all the action that you can take, all the physical things that you can start doing in your life. You've got to get your energy aligned with your decision that this is the life that you want to live. You know, it's like when I had Mother's Day on Sunday this week, or last week now, it was like this energetic decision that I was like, this is not how I want my life to be. I don't want one day of the year where I feel respected and loved as a mother by my family because they feel obligated to have to do it because some random person has decided that today is the day we celebrate mothers. No. And the same with my mother. I don't want one day of the year where I decide to send her flowers, or I decide to, you know, send her a lovely message to show how much I appreciate her or something. That doesn't wash with me anymore now, okay? I want to be able to tap into that any time of the year, because that's who I am as an individual. That's what happens when I get into alignment, is I show my appreciation to others. You know, I might buy them gifts. I might do, you know, things for them to show my love and appreciation for them. And I want that back from other people for me as well. So you've got to get into this place where you look at your life and you say, I am deciding what I am and I'm not available for. And like, I'll give you an example with this. So what happens with so many people, and this is kind of like the false lie that we've all been sold, and it just is what it is. And the reason that we get sold this is because for so few of us, we've never seen examples of people who are living and having it all. But what we see from like our own childhoods and what our parents have seen from theirs is that the only way to have something that you truly desire in your life is to sacrifice something. You can't have it all. You have to have one thing, and you have to discard something else in the process to have that thing. I call bullshit on that, okay? Because my life is a living example of how slowly, it doesn't happen overnight. This is a transition thing, because you do have to rewire your subconscious. You do have to rewire your belief systems around all of this stuff. But slowly but surely, I am starting to realize how little sacrifice I am allowing into my life, because I am just getting to this point where I'm like, no, I am not available for this. So one of the things when we moved here, when we moved over to Wales, we were previously living in England, and we were kind of like near our parents and everything. And we decided we want to change. We moved so that we could put our kids into this really amazing school that we found. And as part of that, my husband wanted to get a different job. He wanted to get a much higher pay rise so that we could comfortably afford to pay for the school and, you know, and move. But when he looked around, and so, you know, he was kind of going up the rank in job now, and he was starting to get to, you know, a much more senior level. And there was a lot of beliefs that started creeping in at this point, that when you get to this kind of level, you end up working all of the hours, like you're constantly on call, you constantly have to be available, all of this sort of thing. Like, this kind of money doesn't come without sacrifice, or, you know, without all of these extra conditions to it. But we were just like, but no, that's not what we want. Like, yes, we want to, you know, as a household, we want to have more money coming in, but we don't want him to have to work away for days on end, you know, and like, we had to get clear about what our core values are. Like, this is what you need to do. If you want to start living a life that is in alignment with you, that is the life that you desire, you have to know what your values are. Because once you know what your values are, then you can make decisions so much more easily. Because it's just a simple case of asking yourself, is this in alignment with my values? Yes or no? And that's literally it. And if it's no, then you have to step back and say, okay, then I'm willing to wait until the right thing that comes along that is in alignment with my values. So when he was looking around at jobs and things, one of the things that we really wanted was for him to be able to work full-time from home, because we wanted him to be able to see the girls. You know, he wanted to make sure that he was, you know, although he's the main breadwinner and he's the one who's working, he doesn't want to miss out on that time with them. And so we were like, okay, we want a full-time work from home. Doesn't, you know, he's fine to have a bit of travel like peppered in throughout that's fine. But he doesn't need to be driving into an office every day or commuting to somewhere far away, you know, 2-3 times a week. That is not what we wanted. And so we waited until that opportunity came up, and it did. It showed itself. He's doing it right now. And it's hilarious. Like, I always say this to people, that like, this is the most he's ever earned in his, you know, career history so far. And it's not that he does less work, because it's not about that, but he is so on it with, when it's 5 o'clock, he clocks off, because he comes downstairs and he has dinner with the whole family, with the girls. Like, he starts on time. Yes, there's a few occasions where he might work a bit late if there's something, you know, really major going on. But like, I can literally count on like 2 hands over the course of like, what is it, like 2 years when he's done that. But he is like crushing it where he works, because he's stepped into this energy of, these are our values. And it's like, if I can't get done what I need to get done in these work hours, then I need to look at different ways of working. I need to, you know, say that I need more support at work. You know, he needs more support from his team. Like, it's an energetic decision when you step into this, okay? And it's like, you know, we're looking at moving at some point, getting a new house. And what feels so nice about it is being in that position where we're not being forced to have to move from where we currently are. Like there's nothing kind of pushing us to do that. It's just we've decided this is what we want to do. And when you have that power of like making that decision, that is when you have a lot of power, because you're not being forced by scarcity. You're not being forced into making a decision. You're making the decision because you're deciding to up level your life. Okay, so ask yourself, where are you in your life, across your, like all the different areas of life? Where are you feeling like you have to sacrifice something in order to get something else? Like one of the like big areas that this happens in, that I see a lot, is around motherhood, is believing that you can't be a stay-at-home mum and like have a business. And or even on a basic level, you can't have kids and have a thriving marriage that's really hot and spicy and intimate and connected because you've got kids. Like, where are these things coming up in your life where you have a belief, probably because, and it's probably quite a genuine belief rooted in the fact that you've never seen evidence of anybody else doing this. Like I have seen loads of marriages fall apart from having kids, but as much as I have never I have more examples now that I've started to kind of get more into that energy, and I think I'm attracting more people who are also into that space. But when I first had that desire around my marriage, I had no living examples of people doing this. I had people whose marriages were like okay, but they were completely boring and vanilla. I had people whose marriages were on the ropes. I had no living examples to say, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. But what I did have, and what you have at your disposal, is your brain. You have your mind. You have what you're able to visualize. If you can visualize it, if you can see it, it is already created. It's not even the fact that it's being created. It's created energetically. Everything in this universe is created by the power of thought. That is the first step into creation. We think it's physical because we are very physical. We're in this 3D realm, we're in these 3D bodies, and, we think it's all very physical. But the first step to anything that's being created is energetically. And so this is why you've got to get into this space where you decide, this is what I see. And when I see this in my mind's eye, this feels good to me. This feels like something that is possible, that I can have. And you kind of have to block out the rest of reality. I'm not saying go and hide under a rock, but you've got to look at it. Like the way I used to do it was I just used to use it to spur me on. So the more I kept seeing of take the example of people's marriages failing, or becoming flat after having kids, the more I would see it, the more it would keep sparking this desire within me that this is not how I'm going to have my marriage. This is not how I'm going to live my life. It's the rebel within me that thrives off this stuff. But that's what you've got to use. You've got to use that, that contrast to ignite the desire. And you have to say, if I'm the only one in my physical reality that does this, then so be it. That is what is going to happen, okay? Because to truly live a life that you desire, you've got to decide. You've got to say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go after this. This is mine to have. You don't have to know all the answers. Christ, I don't know all the answers. I desire to have, 7-8 figures in my business one day. I have zero clue right now in this red hot moment how I'm going to do that. Well, not completely. I have a loose idea, but I don't know the step to step of how I'm going to get there. But I know that that is a desire that I have. And it's not just a desire to get to 7-8 figures. It's a desire to get there with ease, with flow, with fun, with enjoyment, without sacrificing. I don't want to get to 7-8 figures while sacrificing spending time with my kids and my husband. No, I want to get there by balancing it out, by having that balance that suits me in my lifestyle, where I can spend time playing with my kids, I can have time seeing my husband, I can do the things I want to do and run my business and pour my creativity and my energy into this, and also do that. there's hardly, like, I know a few people because, like, you know, they're my mentors and they're people that I like follow and aspire, but I've had this desire for a long time and there was no one doing this. And you know, if you share your desires and you share this like aspiration for the kind of life you want to live, a lot of people are going to laugh at you. A lot of people are going to think you're fucking crazy. A lot of people are going to, you know, question your sanity. But you've got to just put it aside. You know, you've got to just see that like they are looking very in this like moment, they're looking at experiences and examples from their own past, from their parents' past, from their friends, all of this kind of thing. But if you've got that image in your head of what that dream life looks like, then it is possible for you to have it. But you've got to step into this energy of deciding that you will accept nothing but this. And, you know, it's like what I was saying about when my husband was like looking for jobs. He could have taken those, he could have grasped at them because those opportunities came to him, but they didn't quite hit the mark. Like, they weren't quite the thing that, you know, as a family and for him, we were looking for. And so you just say, thank you for bringing me this opportunity. It's not quite there yet. And I'm going to wait. I'm going to hold on until it comes. But the thing is, for so many of us, an opportunity comes up that's like, we start to think it's like too good to be true. Or maybe this is as good as it's going to get. But that's only because you've decided it's as good as it's going to get. Or like, this is as good an opportunity as you'll get. But can you see, when you're making that decision, when you're like moving your life in the direction towards that, it's from a place of scarcity. It's from this opportunity isn't going to come up again. It's not quite what I want, but I don't think anything better is going to come up. So I'm going to take that. Rather than when you step in your power and you say, this is close. We're getting close. It's nearly there. Like, see it for what it is, that like actually like you are co-creating with the universe and like it's nearly there. You can be like, yes, you're on the right lines. This part and this part, great. We just need to tweak this bit now. Tweak this bit, get into alignment with that, visualize that, focus on that, expand your container, get into more gratitude to be able to accept it all in and then wait for it to come. But you got to be patient and step into trust and knowing that you are worthy to have this desire and that it is out there. It will come. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up here, but I really just want you to, I so like desire for you to start building the life that you love, because when you have these realizations like I got in the last couple of days, it's so profound. It's so mind-blowing to go, wow, like I don't need these days anymore. And I'll link it down below as well. I made a whole video about this around, it's a similar idea around holidays. So many people go on holiday. They have like one holiday a year, or, you know, maybe a couple, but they go on that holiday because it's the only like week or 2 weeks of their like life of the year where they get a break, where they get to enjoy themselves, where they get to do the things that they want to do. Like, what about just creating your whole life to be like a holiday? And it doesn't mean that you're jetting off and going physically on holiday all the time, but it's that energy, isn't it? It's living in that way that it feels like what it feels like when you're on holiday, you know. And you don't go on holiday anymore because you need a break, you need downtime. You go on holiday because you're like, oh, I'm really fascinated to see this place, I want to explore this place, or, you know, I really fancy some sun right now, or whatever the case may be. But the sole purpose is not because I need a freaking break from my current life and I need to escape from it for a bit in order to, you know, be able to come back and do all of this crap again every day. Like, it's not about that. Like, start building a life where you don't need to take a vacation, where you don't need to take a holiday from it, because your whole life is like that. It's like my business. Like I always talk about, it's really funny when I talk about this with my parents, because they're very much of that generation where they went to work, they kind of did their job, and they all worked towards getting to retirement until they could get to like the golden age of whatever it was, like 65 or I don't know, until they got their pension, and then they could live their life. And I talk about my business and like creating, you know, and all the things I want to do in it. And I have to really educate them around the fact that I don't ever want to retire from my business. Like, I don't know, maybe when I'm 80 odd, I might like slow it down a bit, but this is the difference. I don't want to have a business that I'm just slogging through and getting through to make me some money until I get to a certain age where I've got enough money to then do what I want. That's not living. Like that's sacrifice. It's I'm going to do this job that I fucking hate for however many years because it's going to bring me the money, and then when I get to this age, then I'm going to start living my life. For me, that does not wash. That does not cut it. Okay? I would rather live a shorter life and have a life that I loved than just slogging away doing something that's painstakingly boring and completely out of alignment with your soul to get to a date and then you can start living. No, that doesn't wash. That's not, but certainly not for me. If you're happy to do that and that's what you want, go for it. Like, I am not here telling you how you should live your life. But for me personally, and if you've clicked on this video and you've been, you know, something has called you to watch it, then I have a strong suspicion that you also don't want to live a life like that. But you've got to decide energetically that you're not going to have a life like that. And that you are going to go and you are going to seek and you're going to trust that what you visualize and the life that you do desire is possible for you. And the other thing is, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be like a click your fingers, like stop watching all this crap about like fast manifestation and all this sort of thing. Like, yes, of course you can do it. But the other thing that you don't want to have happen is you don't want to bring that dream life to you all at once. And I know that sounds really bonkers to say that, because you'd be like, well, why wouldn't I want to just start living this all at once? Because if you're not ready for it, you're going to self-sabotage it. I did a reel about this like a little while ago. Like, and Abraham Hicks talks about this. Like, would you rather have like incremental change or like fast change? And it depends what kind of scale that fast change is on. Like, imagine if right now in your life, your career is not where you want it to be. Your finances aren't where you want it to be. Your love life isn't where you want it to be. And all three of those things suddenly overnight change. It sounds on the face of it like, great, yeah. But the thing is, this is what people don't realize, is that you've got to be an energetic container that can hold the life that you desire. Like, and this is where you need to have the capacity to realize what you currently can hold and what you can't. And then when you realize what you can't hold, you learn how to start expanding that and how to hold more of that. Like, this is why when you see people who have lottery wins, like these people are winning amounts of, you know, sums of money that would set them up for life. Like, just purely from like the interest alone, they would never have to work again. Like, you know, if they use that money sensibly, like, even if they still, like, you know, blew it off and enjoyed themselves, like, this is money to set them up for life. But these people go bankrupt. These people don't just lose it all. They go in the complete opposite direction. And so it's not money. It's the fact that they don't have the abundant mindset. They don't have the energetic capacity to hold onto, in this example, that amount of money. They don't have the capacity to know how to manage that money, what to do with it, how to appreciate it. Like, you know, they have beliefs that are still within them that say they're not worthy of it. And so if you've got that, slowly, you're going to just start like self-sabotaging it. Things will happen where you end up having to give that money away. You lose it. Like, so you've got to you know, you've got to go on this inner growth journey. Like, you know, like I say, my life is not, I wouldn't say I'm quite there yet with like hand on my heart saying this is my dream life right now. But I can say that I'm close to it. And that has not happened in the space of a year. That has happened over time. And how it happens, and like I say, I will mention it again, go into the description and get my free guide to start uncovering your authentic self. Start finding out who you are. Because this is the problem. A lot of people, you ask most people who are unhappy with their life and you say, okay, what would you want instead? They don't know. They just know they're unhappy. But if you don't know where you want to be going to, and you don't know enough about yourself and what you truly desire and what you actually like, then how are you ever going to create that life? You're not going to be able to. So, or you'll just do this kind of pendulum swinging thing where you just bounce from one thing to the other. And there's nothing wrong with that, because we learn in that process. Like when we go from one extreme to the other, we learn. But it's a painful way of learning about yourself and your life and what you actually desire. Whereas if you can start to connect back inwards, start getting this relationship formed with you and yourself. My dog's having a little scratch over there. That is when you start to realize this is what I do like and this is what I don't like. And that is when, and I will link as well, I've done like a couple of videos around decision making, like how to start making those decisions from a place of abundance rather than from a place of lack. How to like really stand in clarity and power around decision making. But it all stems from like how to make these decisions powerfully and move in the direction that you want to live, like, you know, the direction you want to take your life in. You have to know yourself. You have to know what it is that you do want and what you don't want. And a lot of people don't know that. So if you are, you know, if this is inspiring you and you're like, yes, this is what I want, like get yourself into the description, get clicking on those links. It's completely free. And it just, like the guide takes you through how, like all the different areas that you can start connecting back to yourself. So it talks around, you need to understand your emotions. Your emotions are your biggest like cues for what is in alignment with you and what isn't in alignment with you. It's your biggest way of understanding who you are. Like your emotions every single day are showing you that. So it talks around understanding your positive emotions as well as the negative emotions that gets missed out so much. Like your negative emotions are powerful. They teach you big time, and it takes you through like a 4-step process on how to do that. It starts teaching you around how to connect in with your intuition and how to start uncovering like your real purpose in life. Like a lot of people, you know, say like their soul purpose, what they're here to do. Like it teaches you how to start tapping into all of that, okay? And when you know this information, when this information is like second nature to you, that is when you probably unconsciously in some ways will start moving yourself towards the life that you truly desire. Okay, I'm wrapping it up there, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if there's anything in particular around this whole idea, like of creating your dream life. Like what is blocking you from having that? What is blocking you from going for that? And I can do a whole nother like video around those things as well. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up there. Have a beautiful day, guys. It's great to get back on and do videos for you guys again. It feels like it's been a long time. It's only been a week, but like I miss it when I'm not doing these videos. Okay, have a beautiful day and I'll catch you in the next one. Much love. Bye.